Welcome to the Going North podcast, where you will be informed, encouraged, and empowered to embrace your dreams and advance in life through authorship. I'm your host, best-selling author of the book Stay the Course, and certified leadership trainer, Dom Brightman. Be sure to check out the goods and services from every guest, as well as the host himself, yours truly. Now let the fun begin. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as the Going North podcast, we got a treat for you today, my friends. We got a treat for you because for my Naruto fans out there with the full power of youth who know of Guy Sensei, this ain't a Guy Sensei Rock Lee moment because they're not that close, but it's a power of youth moment because we got an author at the time of this recording who's 17 years old, folks, 17, and he's already in the business of immortality because he published his first book in October of 2020, baby. So Autumn Leaves, Pumpkin Spice, and new good reads to pick up from this young gentleman right here, the superstar in the making, my man, Mr. JN himself, Jonathon Nazario. How you doing, my man?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on here. It's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, man. That's right. I got to keep a phone on the bun. That's right. Yes, indeed, man. So congrats, my man. 17, first book out, first of many to come. Talking about society, man. Like what inspired you to really just find the confidence just to write and publish your book, man?
What gave me the confidence to write and publish it? Oh, that's a tough one. For that aspect, I would have to say that my dad pushed me a little bit to get it out there, at least get it out into the world, so then I could at least get some feedback for the next part of it. And another part of it was finished, and I was more or less sitting on it. So I was like, let's just get it out there. I already had it edited by a college friend, so pushed out there. What's the worst that can truly happen? Like Amazon's not gonna come back at me and be like, okay, we have $20,000 that you owe me, and they're like, you owe me for keeping it up on your website. You know what I mean? That space. What else do we have over here? The word counts. Like, they're not gonna start charging me for everything. So I'm like, just get it out there. It's gonna bring some attention. I'll be known for something. So if I die in a car accident and my parents get double life insurance, they'll have something else to remember me by. You got to think about these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're definitely right, my man. Definitely right about that because it's the times we're living in, and it's so right, and that's really good for your age to really have that long term thinking because a lot of folks don't think that way. It's like sometimes folks may still think about the whole YOLO, you only live once, which, well, to be honest, kind of isn't true, but like depending on your beliefs or whatever, and really just thinking ahead and really just taking that action, taking your dad's wisdom and taking his little pushings and letting them push you to really embrace your greatness. So that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. So my goodness, and self help no less. So why self help? Some would think you may want to go in the fiction category, maybe write like a, or maybe do a graphic novel, man. Of all books, why self help?
Okay, well, self-help was perhaps the easier topic to go with since I do want to start a business in the future, but part of that is setting up those fundamental habits and establishing my own motivations now. And since I figure out more or less how to do that, I thought some people are still struggling with this. Let's write that down. And preemptively, I was just watching a bunch of motivational videos and motivational speakers and such. So I'm like, I know what they're doing. They're giving lessons. And let's see what the commonalities between them are. And let's see what the difference is between a successful speaker and a less successful speaker. Let's combine them together, and then let's take a look at life and let's see what we can learn from just the ordinary things that we can see. Write those down as observations, do some tests and some social experiments, and see what it actually comes up with, because that could yield some interesting data. And then just taking around fundamental things that we think as absolutes and then questioning them, if we will.
Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. Definitely the questioning them because that's really something everyone needs to do in their life is just really just question everything. And heck, even at your age right now, you don't have as much fog, for lack of a better word, because as folks age, they tend to really have this mental fog. Sometimes it's heart fog, and they get this fear from maybe taking action to make it an injury or something down the road. And life beats them up so much that they just get back in their shell and they don't really question things and try to maybe make things better or see if this may be the right path to take. And it's really good that you're actually doing that. And it's great that you decide to take the self-help route, because it's another thing too. Like with self-help, it's basically evergreen. Like the great speakers who speak of philosophy and self-help hundreds of years ago, it's still relevant today. Like so, like you just gotta live a life that's worth living.
Yeah. My age works with me and it works against me. It all depends. You flip the coin one day, oh, you're too young to be right to talk about anything related to self help. You flip the coin the other day, hey, good for you. You wrote a book. Like you got to use it to your advantage because everything in life feels balanced more or less. It's weird. The developers need to like implement an update or like a cheat code or something. We're gonna need some of that. It's way too balanced.
It's
It's
true.
one of those things that I preach to in my book is that no matter what action you take or what action you don't take, sometimes it's the fact that you need to choose something to actually get somewhere rather than just wasting time because the action's oftentimes inconsequential as long as you make a choice.
That's right. That's right indeed, man. And it's so definitely true, man. Because you definitely got to make choices. Like even the right choice. And you're right. Like age is an advantage and a disadvantage because they're like, oh, you're too young to ride or whatever. So for those who may be out there your age, heck, even past your age, because to be honest, like at the end of the day, some folks are probably already jealous of you, and that's just me speaking from experience. And they may get the cojones to write their own book because they see you with your book now. So, any advice for those out there who, oh, those fellow youth out there who may want to take action to do something out of their comfort zone?
I would say definitely try it, but some of the fundamental things that are going to happen is you're going to need slight some parts of planning ahead of time, like some slight planning, maybe 15 minutes worth to just plan something ahead and to not necessarily lose faith in it, but there definitely can be an off put to it, especially when you jump into the entire industry like I did and just being like, oh, that exists. You might also want to check out this source. Like, there's so many things that just pop up out of nowhere because it's such a big industry overall. So it's definitely discouraging, but if you have the willpower and you have the energy to feel free to go write a book, like it doesn't matter to me. Just do it in like a different genre than mine, so I can get up there, get a place up or something. You know what I mean? But by all means, write your own book. Enjoy it. It's a great feeling. It's still really surreal to me that it's right here on the floor, and every day I carry it with me, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, there you go. I bet you felt like you won the world title, didn't you? Just had to hold it in
Oh,
your hands. It's like, oh, the boyhood dream has finally been realized.
it wore off because I got my book from my editor 3 days on Friday. And then I recorded an interview for my school, and something in my intuition told me that I need to have it up on Amazon by Monday. Like something deep in my soul told me that. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna just pull 3 all-nighters from when I got it back edited to when it releases and just get it on Amazon. So I was done for those 3 days. I'm like, I'm just going to bed. It's on Amazon. I did my work. I'm going to sleep. But it's just nuts.
There
Like
you
I never
go.
thought that that feeling's so accurate. Like when you hear and just watch content creators and they're like, I never reached out. I would hit 1 million subscribers or something. It's like you really don't expect it until it's here. It's just such a habit to just sit down and write something and just keep going with your day. And it's just like when it's finished, it's crazy.
That's right. The good kind of crazy indeed, because the real fight begins. Because that's another thing too that a lot of writers learn once they hit the publish button. It's like, all right, now I got to sell this thing. All right, so how am I gonna, how am I gonna sell this thing? It's like, oh,
I
I
didn't
gotta
see
get.
that in Amazon's fine print. That I was my own marketing team. I missed that somewhere.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they don't tell you that part. Like it, little by little, if you look hard enough, you'll eventually learn it. But yeah, because folks always tend to focus so much on the writing piece and they just want to write and get it done. It's like, yeah, writing a book's hard and it's also not hard. It's like the writing piece, you set a schedule, stick to it, give yourself a deadline, you'll basically make it happen. You tapped into your intuition, which is powerful. And heck, even just on that, what do you think gave you that deep intuition to really publish your book after on that Monday after doing 3 straight all-nighters of editing it?
It's it's almost as if that fight or flight feeling when you get an off put from someone's presence just told me to get in there. So it was quite literally intuition. I couldn't really put a word on it. It's just my like that feeling from my amygdala is just like, you might want to do this. I'm telling you, like you can get sleep on anytime you want, but for these 3 days, man, you're working on it. So it's weird because I didn't particularly believe in that before, but I've had intuition like throughout my entire life, throughout from the stories that I hear from my parents, and
Mm.
it's just something I never particularly considered.
Yeah, man. Definitely keep that strong, man, because you're gonna be needing it on the road ahead. Like if a lot of folks just keep trusting their gut feelings, their instincts, their intuition, usually it doesn't steer us wrong. It usually doesn't. Sometimes we can stay in our head so much that we just tend to go south. If we stay in the head too much, it's like, oh, all right, this is perfect. Oh, it's not perfect. The T has to be slightly up a little more. This P, it doesn't look like a P. It looks like an O. Let me make sure the stem is a little longer. It looks like a P. Like it, the mindset, it's always great to have the right mindset, but sometimes you have to trust that instinct, that intuition, that gut feeling, man.
Yeah. One of the things I do want to put out there is the fact that I don't like reading. Like I really don't like reading. Like it's the worst. So maybe I chose the wrong industry. Pretty.
I'm guessing the English class was not one of your favorites.
Oh, English class was became one of my favorites in high school because I can write anything as long as I don't need to read anything. I'm good. And Spark Notes, Google, being my best friend out there, having a great relationship with my teachers, and just talking with them. That's just mainly how I got through it with an unironically. I don't know. It's weird.
Ah, that's what
It's
I'm
so
talking.
surreal to think about life though.
Yeah, man. It's surreal indeed, man, because that's the thing. Like a lot of folks who write books, like sometimes they may not have been the best at English. Some of them may not even liked it. Some actually do. And heck even with the reading thing, I'm pretty what do you think may be the hate for reading? Is it the books that they give you in grade school that you don't like to read? What do you think may have killed that for you?
Well, I know right now I have too many distractions because the only book that I have read recently was a book that I brought to the beach, and I wasn't going to use my phone at the beach. For me, that's just a no. So it's the one book, and that was the only form of entertainment there. So I just got through that book in the week while we were at the beach. But other than that, I would just say because I can read in short bursts for the most part, but I would say it's just laziness. Because if I actually need to read something, I'll put it into a speed reading program and read it to myself at 750 words per minute. Remember it all for 5 minutes. After that sixth minute, oh, it's all gone. But for me, it just doesn't. I kind of enjoyed books, but it's there's just too many other alternatives for me. And reading, I haven't found the book that creates the world for me with my imagination that fully makes it, and that fully immerses myself. But you bet I watch my YouTube videos at 2 times speed with subtitles, though. That efficiency is what matters right there.
Heck yeah, man. As you're saying that, reminds me of a past guest. His name was Scott Young, a TEDx speaker, and he actually, I'm not sure if I think it might have been MIT. He went through one of their, I think it was their bachelor's degree program. He went through it in like 6 months because they had all the content online. This was probably a few years ago, at least 6 years ago, I think. They had all the content and the courses online that you could take. Some of the stuff was free, and he just listened to stuff at 1.5 to 2 speed and just took the ultra learning route, just sped up everything and focused on efficiency like you're doing, man. So kudos to you, man. Kudos to you, man. You're definitely tapping into it, and it sounds like it's working.
It's kind of working. My friends still think I'm kind of weird, though, for the most part. I don't know. It's definitely a gray area between like proud and definitely weird for some things that I do. But hey, that's me. You just got to keep on working with it.
Hey, man, ain't nothing wrong with being weird. You know, sometimes what's weird to us may be weird to folks, and vice versa. Sometimes it's the normal. Like this is your normal. This is my man Jonathan's normal. That's eventually gonna grow and be this wonderful giant willow tree giving positive shade to people in the summer from all of his positive work. As opposed to some folks who might be pine trees and end up as Christmas trees, you know? So you'll still be giving good shade. Some may end up as Christmas trees, you know? And as we know, Christmas trees don't last as long as the wonderful old trees since they, get cut down and decorated with some lights and everything.
They're there for appearances. That fancy car at 23. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about right there. So my man is killing it, baby. Man's killing it. So since this ain't your official first ever interview ever, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're being on interviews?
Ooh, okay, I can answer this one sarcastically. Everyone should ask what's my height. That's what the real question is. Because everyone's like, oh, this guy's pretty good. He's 5'1". Oh, okay. Wait, never mind. That explains why he's a bookend and everything. Because he's 5'1".
Hey, it's all good. You're still a growing boy, man. Like you could probably grow probably an extra 5 or 6 inches soon. It don't matter. That's right.
Okay, I'm gonna need to really prepare to you for that one. But the question that I would actually wish people asked me more often would be, what makes a person a certain by a certain word? What allows you to describe a person with a certain word? Just those fundamental and like really macro scale items relating to our language and such, because we talk about people and we will either say based on our light, he's he's confident, or then if they don't like that person, then they'll be like, he's narcissistic. There's the same word is the positive and negative side, yet we use different words based on the connotation of things. And that if we were to take out and reread essays and articles and pieces of work with words that have a neutral connotation, we would have a completely different light on it. And that's partially one of the backhand projects that I'm working with, is to create an algorithm that will automatically change the words within a certain piece of text and then make it and change the connotation of it. It's a backhand project. It's really low on the scale of project that I'm working on, but it's definitely there.
Hey, sounds huge, man. And that's one heck of a powerful question. That's definitely something different. Like what makes folks think of a certain person with one word? Like it like there's probably a whole can of worms with that one because it could be just like the stories you may have heard about a certain type of person. Like you may see someone's skin tone or the skin color and certain word comes to mind. Like of course with the Black Panther movie, sometimes you at least at least a comedian would greet his white colleagues and be like, "Hey, how's it going, colonizer?" So it could be the media, or you just see a certain movie and it just has that impression on your mind, and you're like, "Oh, alrighty, yes, indeed." It's kind of like, hey, folks may not be asking if you're going to be playing basketball anytime soon, but they may be thinking, "Oh, he's got glasses. He's probably smart." Smart comes to mind. It's just probably like what's all around us and the stereotypes that may be around certain things like skin color, tone of voice, or just appearances.
Yeah, it's really interesting to look at that type of stuff within the human psyche. It's just crazy, especially when you start to think about what we know as people about ourselves, and then we start to look at what the school system teaches us. Because I can speak a lot on that since I'm kind of still in there. Senior year, you know what I mean? Just got accepted to college, but I'm in there, so I can talk about it.
Nice. Which college you going to, man?
Florida Polytechnic. It was my actual top school, so I'm in
Oh,
there. It's gonna be great.
that's right. My man gonna be hitting them books because he wrote a book. Man, going to Florida Polytech, baby. That's right. Did you choose your major yet, man?
I did business analytics and more specifically logistics and supply chain management.
Okay. All right.
That feeds into a bigger picture of starting my own business, because if I know how like logistics runs properly, and because I actually like logistics, getting that sorted out based on an efficiency formula can allow for greater changes and increased reliability when it's not needed, or when it is needed particularly. But can I just say, college is like the fast food industry before COVID. Like, you pay 100% of the money, yet you do half the work. Like, I'm telling you, it's a ripoff.
Yeah, man, it's so darn true. It's like that's why some like one rapper's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, so you got your receipt. Oh, I'm sorry, your degree." Because that's really all
Oh,
it
that's a
is.
good one.
Yeah, it's just one of those extra expensive receipts saying you did something for a certain amount of years, and hey, you can say that you filled your head with stuff under this certain umbrella here.
Yeah.
But hey, the good news is with supply chain management, all that good stuff, I imagine you're probably gonna officially start your business while you're in college too, I imagine.
Okay, I'm not sure about that one. Because if I plan to have a book out every single year on top of college, on top of whatever else comes next, I don't know if I'm gonna have time for all of that. Still
Oh
gotta
no,
work out and
no.
keep my figure.
There you go. That's right. That's right. The future lady killer, baby. That's right. That's right. Don't worry, mom's still at home though, so you know. The cougar's gotta stay away. Oh my
uh,
goodness. But hey man, you got this, man. You got this, man. Congrats getting in your college of choice, got your major figured out, got the ones you're choosing, and hopefully my man likes it, able to stick with it. And my man's got a plan to write a book every year. And my goodness, is it all gonna be self-help or we haven't thought that far yet?
okay, so I know I'm gonna have a self-help chain, assuming COVID disappears relatively soon. Like if it disappears in 12 months, I'll still have some things left to talk about rather than me recycling old content. But I am thinking about having a really interesting fiction book on the side, but it's gonna be a psychological one where I kind of connect all the dreams that I still remember into a really interesting story about life and just hopefully a really touching story related to dreams versus reality on top of with a psychological twist of romance with always killing characters though, like on the side, you know what I mean? You gotta just just push him into the train tracks. The F train will come and hit him. If he claws over, he'll get hit by the E train, you know what I mean?
That's just horrible. It's like, yeah. Just be like, hey, this is a good story. And then the character gets killed. Like, God darn, you have to put the book down. It's like, darn you, book, why'd you kill my character? Yeah. Like, why'd you kill him? Yes, indeed. But hey, that's freaking admirable, man. Admirable, man. Like it's definitely good that you're thinking that far ahead and you've got a fiction book that you might release in the good future on top of everything else. So tell us a bit about the theme of the book being a self-help book, your theme of society, man. Like, is it you thinking? Because I saw some of the chapter titles, I'm like Pathfinder. I'm like, all right, I'm thinking Nissan Pathfinder here, maybe even some space goodness here, and finding your way to success and then potential cost and solution. So, like with the chapter of cost, like what like tell us a bit, man. Like, is there a particular chapter that may be your favorite and why?
I definitely do have a favorite chapter. A lot of people also have their own favorite chapters for specific reasons. But can we just have a second to talk about the title, like society, and then the society meme pops up everywhere. Like we live in a society, and it's just like my book will forever be known as that association for the rest of its life. So my favorite chapter, because I have poetry at the beginning of each chapter, I think that it's definitely going to be probably either Pathfinder or motivation because ultimately my music taste is either motivational or really depressing. So it's either movie trailer music or it's super sad. And if people think I'm weird for that, but oh well. But and with that, I'll just be listening to music while I write, and I'll take some of that and just use it as some inspiration. So I don't remember the chapter where I had the best line of poetry. It takes two to tango, but I am only one. I did really well with that line right there, flowing it in with the nice poetry. But all the chapters are interesting based on the way that I took them and their interesting routes. Like you said, Pathfinder. What I did is I figured out a synonym to the word originally, and then I was like, oh, Pathfinder seems interesting and it fits. And it's almost as if some of these chapters add up to an anagram for no in particular reason, no attention to detail or anything. But it's definitely It's definitely there. I do talk about a little bit about the deep topics, such as the one that normally shall not be named with kids that's been going on recently, just not being here tomorrow but was here today. I have a fair bit of experience with that in our school, so might as well like. It's sad, but it needs to be out there because that's the only way you really prevent problems is if you talk about them. Especially from my perspective and having lost some people that I know, it's just better out there.
Yeah, man. Sorry to hear that, dude. Like it sucks to lose friends and classmates, especially at a young age, like especially school, man. Like it that those are like the formative years, the years where you feel like you're at your most invincible before you go off to college and feel even more invincible. And it's like, oh man, like yeah, so sorry to hear that, man.
It's nuts. And then that on top of what kids already do, because kids are kids. Like
Yeah.
I saw, like I when people ask me what can they do to help their kid be better in a situation, I'm like, don't follow what I do because what I do, I'm not the rule. I'm definitely the exception when it comes to a lot of things. So I would say learn your kid first, but kids can definitely be brutal and mean. Because my first book was going to be a fiction book, and then my friends were like, okay, you got to stop this for a minute. This is not going to work out, and it brought me back down to earth. And I'm like, you're right, that wasn't going to work out, but it helped. That brutal honesty helps, but sometimes kids can be really really rough at times. So that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, man. Like, especially with the bullying, like everybody's experienced bullying in their lives at one point, but now it's like it's even harder to deal with it pre-COVID. Like, do you think it may be a little bit better somewhat in that aspect since folks aren't around the other kids, even though it really kind of sucks that you're not around the other kids?
Okay, so most of the schools that I know are mostly in the blended environments like our school. So you can go to school if you want, or you can go online. I take online because I can wake up 5 minutes before class. It's life. It's great. But currently, I'm working on a grant with my school to see if we can get a communications program between students because incoming freshmen and kids that just move into the state and stuff, they won't have friends if they don't go to school because how you can't really chit chat online. It doesn't really work out that way. So for those that don't have friends that are mentally dark, we're working on a program to automatically establish friend groups within our school to just relieve the pressure because some people always just need to talk, and that's really important. And I feel like it's a little bit left out, especially since we're a big school, and finding someone to talk to can be really hard to get someone to actually listen and have a meaningful connection with. So I think I got off from your original question, but I do think bullying, at least, I think it's a necessary evil. It should be restricted, but I don't think that it should be broken. Almost like monopoly is in capitalism. Like some should definitely still be there for certain things, but and like be restricted. But there's still a necessary evil for some niche markets, if you will, because that definitely does build character and it establishes a free social hierarchy. Because if we start to restrict that now, they go out into the real world and they can see something a lot worse. And then what are they just going to do? Fall into a depression, and then no one's going to care for the relatively. Like society isn't going to care if you're an adult and you just go off and do the thing. Like you're going to be a statistic at that point, and it won't really be brought up upon, especially compared to if you were a child. So I do think that bullying's better, but I don't. I think we need to live with bullying, if we will. But now it's loneliness
Hmm.
because you can only get so much, and then you're just going to keep wasting your time on social media. And especially if you're not doing so well in these times, you're always going to have that one friend that's going to be living the life, going on vacations every weekend because it's not like they have anywhere to be. It's school. They don't need to go to school. They can do it anywhere. So you see those things and you just think about how rough it is. You just get that negative view on the world. So everything's balanced. You have some sort of a counter to everything. So hopefully we can go back to the demon that we know how to deal with rather than the evil that it's unaware.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Yeah, because that and it really is hard that when it comes to that, it's like, do you deal with the devil you know or the devil that you don't know? And it's like, wow, do we really have to deal with both of them? And it's kind of interesting you mention now bullying's necessary evil because you know what? Truth be told, it's really just a catalyst for growth because sometimes folks pick on you. Some you just have to learn how to stand up for yourself and just really just keep it moving. Because as you grow older, you're gonna realize, uh, especially when COVID makes its permanent hibernation, when folks get back together, like sometimes the stuff you see in school goes into the workplace.
Oh no, I can only wonder on this one. They steal your lunch?
Funny enough, funny enough that both people aren't there anymore. I don't think it wasn't me, but it was a colleague. She brought in her food, put it in a little Tupperware plastic case, had her name on it, and put it in the fridge. Someone just ate out of it. Someone had the cheesesteak eaten at work too, because we had to say he obviously doesn't work at this place anymore, but he actually ate the food. Someone brought in the cheesesteak, put the mess in the fridge, and he put the name on it. And one dude, he was getting ready. Well, actually, but okay, let me start over. So, the person brought this cheesesteak in. There was lunch break. They put it on the table and then they went to wash their hands because want to wash your hands before you eat your food. And then the guy came in, sat down, was about to start eating the darn cheesesteak. And the woman looked at him and said, "Excuse me?" Like, hey, you don't have your name on it. So yeah, yeah. Um, Lunch theft still can happen, which is very sad, and you lose your job afterwards. But if you do something that's stupid, but yeah, it actually
Well,
still,
if you get caught, you know what I mean?
yeah.
You might need to pay a fee next time to get make sure you have your food till the end. You know what I mean? The food mafia at your workplace. They're the trench coat.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Because but yeah, definitely with the social media, and that's the other thing too. Like the it's it's a great tool and it's a great evil at the same time because a lot of folks try to floss and fake it till they make it on social media, and they may go to an uncle's house and the uncle may be loaded, and he's just taking pictures. The kid's taking pictures of the house, like, yeah, that's right. You got the selfie right here. Like, yeah, you see this? This is my place right here. And yeah, sometimes you got to work extra hard. You're saying motivational stuff, trying to be on social media, acting like it's your place when it's your relative's house or whatever, and just using pictures from someone else's social media page and trying to Photoshop yourself in there somehow. And just really, just a lot of folks need to realize like social media, it's just stuff that people want you to see. Like a lot of people, they may not be living the life you see on social media. Like heck, even with employees with side hustles, they'll folks will think you'll have more money than you may actually have. They may be like, "Hey, so you're a millionaire yet?" It's like, no, I'm still here. No, it's like, yeah, man, just have to really help people to realize, like, hey, you may see the nice stuff on there, and just sometimes taking a break from it too, especially nowadays, maybe finding different ways to connect. Heck, even maybe still playing with the kids, even though I'm sure you probably do that online. Since my man got the gamer headset on, man, probably does some online games. Like, hey, that's right, shoot this guy. That's right, Call of Duty, if that's still
Something
relevant.
we need to keep in mind though for social medias of the world is that they're meant for entertainment. And that's what their purpose is. And no matter how much we try to use it for good, entertainment's still gonna be the predominant nature of it. And that's what the companies want, and that's what the algorithms are meant to push. So definitely using it for good can help, but ultimately it's not really gonna work out because there's two different ideologies that are gonna cross at some point. Something else that really started to bug me with is always all these motivational quote channels that started to follow me on Instagram now, and I'm like, I can't, like, because most of them are fake and it's reused advice, and it's just like if you aren't gonna have it, if you're not gonna cite your source, and you're just gonna rewrite someone else's thing, and like, no, because I know you're monetized, but I know you're getting money for it, but it's so annoying to deal with and to see that sort of forgery, if you will, when it comes to that stuff. And even if it is just a quote, at least having a source cited and at least making something that's really vaguely related to a personal life. And and something. I don't know. It's just the whole concept is just really weird if you think about it. Because then you start to look at social media friends, and your friends will always have more friends than you because it's some sort of a weird mathematic thing. And it's just really crazy to think about when you go into logistics of how and how many people worked on the psychology of a social media project. And one of my friends who's 18, he's working on releasing his own thing, his own social media, and just seeing the design instruments and everything, and how it all has those little extra functionalities to just make it that user friendly to get an audience and to just maintain them. It's crazy.
Heck yeah, man. Let me know when your friend wants some beta use. I'll be happy to support and be a guinea pig for you. Help out the cause for you. That's right. Help out the magical cause. Help y'all advance, baby. Because that's right. We need the youth, baby. That's right. This is coming from an older youth, since I'm not even 30 yet. But
I don't believe in our youth. I'm telling you, I don't believe in us.
why not, man? You got
It
a book
feels like I'm
yourself.
just like with a bunch of bricks half the time. Like they're there, but it's like they can get an A in a class and that's all great and all, but like there's still bricks at the end of the day. Like skills. Oh yeah, you know how to do the laundry? Yeah, I can do it occasionally. How about let's see the dishes? Yeah, depending on it. How about can you make your own food? Cook. Why? My McDonald's account gets filled up every month. I don't need to worry about it. Like, oh no. Oh,
Mm-mm.
that's not good.
Nah, not the McDonald's. Can't be eating that crap every day. Oh God, no. That's death. That that's that's literal death. I mean, we're all gonna die one day. I mean, we're all mortal here, but like that'll expedite the process. You'll be expediting your shipping to another realm date, eating McDonald's in massive quantities every month. I stopped eating that crap years ago, because that mess ain't good for me. Heck, there's even I'm pretty sure it's still online too about how for some strange reason, like apparently they left the fries out for like as an experiment for like a month, and then they melted through like a wooden table in a lab or something. So
Uh,
I'm like, dude, what the hell is this? So yeah, I like it. No.
but hey, man, maybe if I eat enough McDonald's, I'll become an isekai. I'll just be teleported to another world. Here's hoping. You know what I mean?
Or
It's
maybe
just
enough
that
growth hormone.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that reminds me of this one story. Okay, so one of my acquaintances, right? He used to be really tiny as a baby and stuff, and then his parents decided to give him some sort of growth hormones, and now he's like 6'6", and it's like he was never meant to be 6'6". And I was talking with one of his parents one day, and he's just like, "Yeah, he used to be super small, but then we gave him growth hormones, and he just shot up." And he's just like, "Don't worry about it. You'll grow up to be like that." And I'm like, this doesn't add up. Like, sure, I'll definitely grow taller, but there's a difference between using artificial benefits and then versus a natural process, and how they can't necessarily be related to each other and how they can't be judged upon each other. So it's just one of those pet peeves where it's like if you don't fully look at all the information, you'll never really know the what the outcome should be, and that you're going to start giving false advice. And then you start to think about advice when motivational speakers and such do it, because it all conflicts eventually at the highest level. And you got to see what's most prevalent to you, because no two people are in the exact same situation over and over again, because the universe doesn't work like that with the entropic forces. So it just makes you start to wonder on a macro scale and on a theoretical and philosophical scale how it all relates with each other with just these simple things on a microscopic level.
That's what I'm talking about right there, man. My man, well spoken, because it's so darn true. Like, even though there's a lot of foundational principles out there that a lot of people go off of and that they borrow from, like at the end of the day, you're right. Like, no one has the same exact situation, but they may have a solution or a story that may hit them at the right time that can really help them really get over that hump. Because, like with what you're doing, man, like this book, all the plans you got, all the stuff that you got for the future, like this could be. someone else's inspiration that they need, man. Because action is the inspiration, man. Like they folks may be seeing you out there and be like, you know what, that Jonathan, he may be weird, but he's cool at the same time. Like I'm gonna write a book too. You know, I'm gonna write a book too because he inspired me. Jonathan inspired me. Heck, he may even inspire some older folks to finally write their books. Because they're like, man, if this 17-year-old kid could do it, what the heck I'm not doing with my book not being out, man. So yeah, man. Folks may not go through the exact same situation down to the detail, but there's always at least somebody out there going through something that's painful and traumatic.
Yeah. It's just really interesting to see with the three perspectives of life too that I'm going to be preaching in my second book, which is the answer child's perspective, the adult's perspective, and then the perspective from the world as a whole, like as if it was acting as one entity. Because as a child, you're naturally selfish. As an adult, you start to branch out and think about other people and feel their successes and share with them truly what that feels like. And then when you go into the world as a whole, you go for the benefits of everyone, which changes in how crazy it is. And then just the principle of old people and how, or older people and how they start to live for the younger generation, if you will. Their entire motivation for living doesn't become for themselves and what they can do, but for what their kids can do. And it's just an interesting thing that's built into the human like mental space and everything. That's just unique to watch because I never truly believed that someone can feel happy for me until I was really happy for this one friend because he did something really good. And I'm like, you did amazing. Congratulations. And I genuinely mean that.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Because it's so darn true. Like, heck, even, especially those folks who may be in the seasoned category or old is the blanket or the brick term, the the brick hard truth term of old is the fact that yeah, like that's really how they get their energy by being around those who are younger, learning from them and seeing what they're doing and helping them grow. And then of course there's some of the other seasoned folks, older folks who get jealous of the youth and be like, all right, sabotage
The
this little
aged whiskey. Just
this curdled milk is gonna take over this young milk somehow. It's like, come on, drink me too. Yeah, yeah, bad jokes all around for this guy right here, as in me. But yeah, it's all good though. It's all good indeed. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. But since you're 17, this is going to be completely different. So if you're to wake up tomorrow and you were 13 again, but this time in the year of 2021, with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
okay. If I was 13, what advice would I give to myself? But if I was 13 now, if I was 22, let me break this down a little bit. If it's 2021 and I'm 13 now, that means that I'm not going to be living the same life anymore, no matter what. So even if I don't tell myself anything, I'm still going to have a different outcome than my reality right now. So that means that I would need to, um, I might need to give him the number 42. Like if I could just give him like 42, the principle in its entire answer, that'd be pretty solid. And also follow Elon Musk because that dude's gonna get us to Mars with that new spaceship, which was really good. But I would say it's figure out 42, investigate it, and truly find out the overarching principles of life. Wait, we are
Uh,
all aware of like 42 and like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, right?
okay, there we go. Because that was my next question, like 42. Like, wait a second.
Oh, okay, you are tipping up. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Which was ironic because on Elon Musk's rocket that he recently launched, Engine 42 was the one the camera was pointing at the entire time. We all know Elon Musk is a nerd. But you got to have some of the rules of that stuff offhand, like rule of the internet, rule number 13. You can Google that.
That's what I'm talking about right there. It's good you're following folks like Elon Musk. He's like our generation's Albert Einstein, but freaking better because we're getting to Mars, baby. That's right. That's right indeed. Well, without the theft.
But Elon has a really interesting past, though, from all of his things. He's had a lot of experiences, some good, some failures, but it's really nice to think about him as a person. Like I wouldn't say that he's an inspiration, but he's definitely someone to keep a follow on just to see what he's up to.
Heck yeah, man. Like, I'm a. Oh well, I guess I'm not sure because you don't like reading. But have you at least listened to his biography? Really, that it was probably about I think it was 4 years ago of his biography was released. They released a smaller kid centered version of the book.
Yeah, no, I did not. I do most of my research through the internet, and that seems to be the fastest way. Because then I can at least go through articles, Command F. It's kind of hard to do that on a book. I'm working on that feature though. I'm also working on mid-roll ads for my paperback version. Still figuring out the logistics of that. But hey, if I get it working, I'll let you know. Flipping through the page. Page 42 blanks out. Please wait 5 seconds while you see this ad. Pepsi, Pepsi, do you know? Flip to the next page.
Shoot, well, count me in. All righty. Well, you got a guinea pig in me for the good stuff like that, especially since a lot of my information gathering is through podcasts and YouTube. Because I still love reading. I love it a lot, but like podcasts are kind of like been in my new books. So definitely right. So looking forward to that magical app because man, it's got a bright future ahead of him, baby. Brighter than this Zoom background too. Even that's right. It's gonna be extra bright. I'm talking all the radiance. I'm talking brighter than Pluto and Saturn together, baby. That's right, way out there in the Milky Way, all the way to the Andromeda Galaxy, baby. So, for those who are still in the Milky Way and want to keep in contact about some copies of your awesome book and the books to come, what's the best way for folks to keep in touch and learn more about the good Jonathan himself?
I mean, there's plenty of sources. You can go follow me on Amazon. Not really popular, but hey, I'm working on it. Working on it. We're gonna make that thing awesome. You can subscribe to my mailing list on my website. There's definitely my website where you can do a bunch of that stuff. There's always my Twitter, Instagram. Don't really post, but it's there. If you really want to make me feel good, add me on LinkedIn. I'm looking for some odd jobs. We'll see what comes up. Create a YouTube video off of that one. Odd jobs with LinkedIn. We're just, but mainly any of the regular mainstream sources you can definitely find me on. I don't know, just trying to put myself out there. Word of mouth, though, seems to be the primary topic, though. You could just talk about me in a conversation like, yo, he's going to be somewhere. He's going to be doing some good work. Get his book before the next series comes out. So then when it comes up in value, you can sell it off for more money because it's going to have a different cover soon. Working on that monetization.
Well, there you have it, folks. My man, follow my man Jonathan on the Twitters, the IGs, and most of all, LinkedIn. He might even do an odd job series soon on LinkedIn and make that his content stream of goodness, baby. Keep up with this young fella right here, making moves, making waves with this giant surfboard of a book by all the copies of the wonderful book on society and see what my man's cooking. How's it going, my friend? I'm glad you made it to the end. That shows that you really enjoyed what you heard and you are an uncommon finisher. Thanks for giving this show a listen. If you really want to help out the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone that you care about or someone that needs to hear this message because we want to spread this podcast around like butter on bread if that's your type of thing. And if it's not your type of thing, still spread it around anyway because good stuff needs to be shared with good people like yourself.